Onyx Armor Batman is in the DorkLair! Welcome to another DorkLair action figure review. Today I'm taking a look at the Mezco 112 Collective Sovereign Knight Onyx Edition exclusive to their website, and this is the first Sovereign Knight to get a release, and we'll also be seeing the black and gray regular release and the blue and gray previews exclusive, which should be closer to this in styling and materials because it's going to have the vinyl overlay as well as the oval on the chest. And so this being an exclusive, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to find, so you're going to want to keep your eye on Facebook groups and other places like that if you're trying to get your hands on one. One thing is it's very shiny, so if that's not your thing, you're probably not going to like this figure. If you don't want a shiny, almost I kind of get the feel of it's like these armor plates all sort of like placed along his suit, you know, and it's definitely got a distinct kind of shiny look to it. So if that's not your thing, you're probably going to want to pass on this figure anyway. But otherwise, it's, you know, I like it. I do like the shine, and I think this figure is awesome. And quite frankly, in hand, it doesn't come off as shiny as it might seem on the camera here, but the cape is also pretty shiny as well, almost oily looking or something. But I like it. Like I think it's really cool. It's got all the features of the Batman. It's got pretty good articulation and lots of accessories. It comes with 4 heads. So yeah, this figure is pretty loaded. I like it very much. It reminds me of my like early teen years when 1989. Tim Burton Batman with Michael Keaton came out, and that kind of 90s style of Batman. So yeah, really liking this figure. So let's get into this review. And taking a look at the packaging, it's in the smaller exclusive box, and it's incredibly shiny. You can see all the stuff in my room here, my mess. But logo on the side, artwork on the back. This is not the best artwork in my opinion. I don't know, just not doing it for me, but still pretty nice. And you got the logo on the side and then back around to the front with the exclusive sticker. Okay, next up, let's take a look at the paint, sculpt, tailoring, suit, all that stuff, the materials, details. You can look at the head sculpt. You can see there are sculpted in these separate sections and pieces. It gives it a much more of like a harder, almost helmet kind of feel to it than a mask or anything like that, because it's got these different plates and sections. So it kind of matches up with the idea that that this is an armor rather than a suit kind of thing. Kind of neat how they're going with that with this figure. The ears are long on the regular head. You can see my head's a little bit wobbly. It's not like the tightest, most perfect fit, but not a big deal to me. The eyes are painted a nice white, and then you've got the face here. You turn down the lighting a little bit, get a little more realistic look at it. A little bit of stubble. Again, this is supposed to be Batman in his prime, so Bruce Wayne is not a young kid anymore. He's sort of a full-grown, mature adult fighting crime and at the height of his technique and power. Making our way down the figure, you've got the logo on the chest, bat emblem, and the lighting is not doing it justice because there's a pattern throughout the yellow part of it where you can see some texture going on there. Get a little bit of it there. It's much more striking in person. It's got a nice texture to it. I like that. It's really cool. And then you can see the suit itself is a fabric, and then over the top like a spandex with vinyl over the top. In some places it's a bit busy, so like again, let me get some more light on here. Some spots like on the back, there's just a ton of there's like a lot going on here, and then over on the legs too, there's just like tons of little pieces, tiny little vinyl pieces throughout that are quite busy. But overall, I think it looks good. And those places where it's busy can be like, so the crotch where you're going to see a lot of articulation and movement, like the arms and elbows, they are kind of strategically placed so that when you articulate the figure, it's not going to be one solid piece at that point where you might have, over time some cracking or wear. The knees are sculpted plastic on top of it. And again, the lighting is real tricky with this figure because it's so shiny. And then the boots are sculpted plastic as well. Gauntlets have a sort of a more of a stubby kind of thing going on. And these are nice and soft. Sometimes these things are so hard, I'm afraid they're going to break. But on this figure, they're nice and soft and move around. And I don't really worry about them breaking or anything like that. And they're not going to like stab you and injure you or anything either. So that's kind of nice. And then you can take a look at the hands here. The belt itself is a gold color with some wash throughout, giving it a little bit of a worn feel. And then on the back of it, it has a place to store the grapple gun. You can take a look at the back of the figure. And then finally the cape. You can see it fanned out a little bit. It's pretty big. It's definitely shiny. On the outside, it's very shiny, and then on the inside, it's just fabric. So it's got that kind of overlay, but very, very shiny and gives it a very unique look. There aren't many figures that are going to look like this one. And it folds back nicely and looks pretty good that way. And you can bring it over the shoulders, and you could even tuck it under like this if you want to have it tucked under like that. So, yeah, pretty cool looking figure. Really nice. And now for the action figures standing next to other action figures portion of the video. Here is Batman Ascending Knight, the exclusive all-black one with the San Diego Comic-Con Batman Beyond figure next to each other there. So you can see how much shinier this is than that one, even though they both have sort of like a pleather overlay type setup. Okay, and moving on to a couple other DC figures. Here is Darkseid and the Red Sun version of Superman. Darkseid's awesome. I love that figure. It's such a great figure, such a unique thing. And then next up here is Deathstroke and Catwoman. That's the exclusive purple Catwoman. The Batman v Superman version. And here's Aquaman from Justice League. We have a couple non-DC figures. So I thought I would throw Spock in there because he actually did appear in DC Comics at one point, as well as Marvel Comics. And then we have Spider-Man. This is the classic suit, one of my favorite Mezcos. And finally, here is the other San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, the Punisher. So, looking pretty good, joining the family, and really happy to see my collection grow a little bit more today. And taking a look at the accessories, he comes with these 3 alternate heads. And you can see here, the first one is sort of a growling kind of look. And this one has shorter bat ears than the other regular kind of bat ear head. So like the plain head has the same type of ears as this one. And this one's got the shorter ears if you're looking for that look. I do kind of wish there was a not open mouth, like a closed mouth head with the shorter ears on it. I think that would be kind of cool. But there you have that head. It's got kind of a slightly weird thing going on with the mouth there, but looks pretty cool. And then we have this battle damaged head, and you can see that it looks like Catwoman sliced his face open. It's got like metal silver paint underneath there, really nicely detailed, and then his face is wounded. He's got blood dripping and a black eye, so really cool. Mine does have a little bit of curl in the ear there at the top, but nothing too crazy. It just curls in a little bit. And these are flexible. These are not stiff plastic like some of the other figures. And then we have the unmasked head, the Bruce Wayne sculpt that it's like an aged up version of the Ascending Knight figure. So you can see how he's maybe a little bit thicker in the cheek. He's a little bit darker, a little less baby face. but it's the same guy, you know, like this is supposed to be the same universe, the same Batman, just a little bit older. This one's got some gray brushed into the hair a little bit there. And you can see he's got a little more stubble. So yeah, he just looks like a slightly older, more prime of his life Bruce Wayne than the Ascending Knight one. So pretty good. I actually think this one looks a little more cartoony or something than this one. This one feels a little more real to me, realistic. And then he comes with 10 batarangs that are nicely stored in this little container. You can see here, nice silver paint on them, nothing crazy. I think I like the sculpting of the Ascending Knight batarangs a little better. These feel a little plain to me, but pretty nice. And you get 10 of them. And he comes with this one other more highly, it's like a larger, more highly detailed batarang. This one I like a lot. This is pretty sweet. Matches the color scheme of the figure. For hands, he comes with these trigger finger hands that can use the weapons, which I'll show you in a moment. He comes with these two batarang gripping hands, so you could take a batarang and stick it right in there between his fingers, just like that. He comes with these two sort of regular gripping hands, just like a bit of a wider grip, so if you want him to grip onto anything else, maybe even this might work better with the bigger batarang. And then finally, he comes with this Kryptonite Knuckler, and they did a really good job here of using like a clear green plastic. So really nice touch right there to have the Knuckler on there. And he's also got this grapple gun with a removable grappling hook that you can pull right out of there. And he's got the other grappling hook that you can plug in like this, and it's got the wire to it just like that. The other sort of gun he has is a sonic disruptor, so for his detective work. And then this piece pops out here and can go into the side like that as well. So pretty cool piece. And then he's also got this drone shaped like a bat, so he can use it for surveillance or whatever. It's got articulated wings, so you can kind of put it in whatever position you want. And it's pretty cool. I wish it had like a hole to peg into the stand that it comes with, but it does not. Finally, he comes with the typical 5-inch Mezco stand, like all the other figures. It's got the peg hole that you can pop out, and you can put in the arm. And then going along with that, you have this adapter piece and all of these little wire pieces that you can clip on and pose the cape around and stuff too. Okay, and the articulation on this guy I would say is middle range. It's not extreme, but it's not terrible either. Like, it's got all the points of articulation. It just doesn't have quite the range of some of the other figures. So the head can look up that far, and then it can look down quite a bit. It's on a ball. It's on like a barbell type joint, and it can obviously spin around as much as you need it to. So pretty good articulation in the head itself, actually. And then, so the shoulders can rotate up really far, which makes it nice when you're trying to use, like, say, the grapple gun, looking up using the grapple gun like that. And then the shoulders, let's get this lighting in here. So the shoulders have the bicep has a swivel right there. It doesn't go all the way around, like it kind of has a limit to it. And that's going to be kind of my problem with some of these other joints as well. The articulation is there, it's just kind of limited. And then, so the elbow, this elbow can actually rotate up this far, okay? And then this elbow can rotate up only this far. And that's because the gauntlet has some spots where there's like a deeper place on the gauntlet that comes out. It's really hard to see in this lighting. Let me see if I can get the light better here. So you can see on this one, and the gauntlets don't rotate. There's no forearm rotation. So right there, it's just glued on at the wrong angle. And this one's glued on at a better angle to give it more range of motion. That's all. So that's kind of a problem there. And then in the chest, so let's see here. So just kind of taking a look at the way his chest works. Again, kind of limited in the crunch, so it can crunch forward that far and then back that far at the upper joint. And then at the waist, you can see it will go forward and back that much. It actually crunches back quite a bit. It just doesn't crunch forward a ton. But there's a little bit there, so you can get some cool action poses going. It will rotate at the top really well, but it won't rotate at the waist a ton. So, you know, if you combine them, you can get a decent rotation, but I wish it was a little bit more there. And he can kind of hinge back and forth this way between the waist and the upper torso. And then getting into the hips on him, he can kick forward quite a bit, like that. And his knees are double jointed and can come down this much. And his upper thigh has a swivel over there. And he can do the splits really well. I'd be a little careful of maybe not wanting to rip the material. There's no cut at the boot, so the calf muscle is not going to rotate. And then you have a fairly okay amount of articulation in the ankles. They can pivot up and down this far, back and forth, and rotate around. So decently there. So overall, it's not the best. It's kind of a medium. It's got a lot of points of articulation. It just doesn't have like the extreme range that I would like. A little bit more range there just for some cool poses. But you can do some awesome stuff with this shoulder and doing some, like grapple gun type stuff going on there. So that's pretty cool. So overall, I really like this figure. It's an excellent preview of what we should be expecting from the Sovereign Knight regular edition, which I'm very much looking forward to. This is like a really unique look. This is a 90s kind of very distinct style. It's hitting the nostalgia button for me. If you don't like shine, I would say skip this figure because it is very shiny. It's got a very glossy kind of feel, but I actually think that's what makes this figure pretty like unique and awesome. So I'm really happy to have this in my collection. It's a really cool figure, and it could be a little tricky to find in the aftermarket. So, be on the lookout. Join those Facebook groups. Maybe wait a little while until the buzz dies down a bit because it's going to be something else will come along and take away some of that hype a little bit, cut that back, and then people will start unloading them for a little bit less. But overall, awesome figure. Glad I have it. Can't wait for the next one. And until next time, may the force be with you. DorkLair.